Let's take a look at a couple of different ways we can create a virtual machine using a few different storage options. Now, to do this, I'm going to begin by creating a single resource group, and I actually didn't do this in advance, so bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to create a new resource group. I'm just going to call this one, let's maximize this window. I'm just going to call this one mini VM. So I want to have a single place where I can store everything in one easy to use location. All right, so we'll go back to our marketplace and we're going to create 3 different Windows Server 2016 VMs using 3 different storage configurations. So here's our first one, VM1. And if you've noticed, I've now suddenly magically filled out all 3 forms. That's because I just paused the video. I didn't think typing was an appropriate use of anybody's time. So we've got VM1, 2, and 3, and we're going to choose VM1 as a type of hard drive. VM2 and 3 are both going to be SSD. So VM1 is going to be a standard VM. VM2 and 3 are both going to be managed VMs. So we'll click OK and go to our next step on each VM. Next step is going to be to choose the size. For all these, we're going to pick the same size, which is a D1 V2. And the next question becomes, do I want to use managed disks or unmanaged disks? Now, if I choose to use unmanaged disks, so first of all, this guy here has hard drives. We're going to use unmanaged disks for this one. This one uses SSD. It's again going to use unmanaged disks. This one is going to use managed disks. So you'll notice the difference is we now have to manage the storage account for the VMs where we chose to use unmanaged disks. For the VM we chose to use a managed disks, we don't have to worry about the storage account. The storage account is set automatically for us. I can go ahead, click OK, click Create, and this VM is going to go ahead and get created. I'm never going to see the storage account. For this VM right here, we can now click OK as well, with the difference being that a storage account is now part of creating this VM. And this guy right here, VM1, which is hard drives and an unmanaged disk, again, just going to click OK, let it create, but it's also going to create the storage account. We'll take a look at these 3 VMs here in just a couple of minutes when they get created. So here are 3 VMs that are now created. So we're just going to take a minute and look at each one of these VMs and how the underlying storage just works a little bit differently. So we'll start with VM1. This was our standard unmanaged disk. So if we go to our disks area, we can see that we've got 1 disk, standard storage, and we don't necessarily see the storage account configuration, but if we click on the disk, we can actually see the URL to the VHD itself, which indicates this is in an unmanaged storage account. So this storage account is now something that I, as an administrator, have to be aware of. If I want to add a second disk, I can choose to add it to the same storage account. If I want to build a more complex VM with better performance, I may need to add additional storage accounts so that I can span my VHDs across multiple storage accounts for better throughput and better performance. If I go to add a data disk to this VM, one of the things that it's going to prompt me to do is choose the storage account that I want this disk to be in. And we can see we've got a couple of options here. I've got my disk's storage account, and I've got the default container called VHDs. If I select that, now we've got a container, we've got the disk name, and I can go ahead and click Create to attach this additional disk. Let's compare that to a premium disk. So we've got a premium disk on VM number 3. So here's VM3. If I go to disks, we'll see that this is premium storage. And if I click on it, we simply see that this is a premium type and we've got location information, but we don't have access to the underlying storage account. Additionally, we can do some advanced things like create snapshots, export the VHD, or move it to another location. If I want to add a disk to this VM, I simply specify the disk name, and then I create a new managed disk. And when I create this new managed disk, we don't have to specify the storage account. It's an Azure managed storage account, so that's a step we don't have to worry about. And if I go back and look at what was created behind the scenes, here we have the many VM storage group, resource group, and we've got our 3 virtual machines created. Let me just sort by type. So we've got our 3 virtual machines right here on bottom, 1, 2, and 3. And you'll notice that as part of this, we have 5 separate storage accounts that were created. 3 of these were for diagnostics. When you create a VM, by default, the diagnostic storage account is turned on. So by default, it did create all the diagnostic storage accounts. But for those that were chosen as unmanaged, you can see it created the additional storage accounts to contain those unmanaged VHDs, each with a default VHDs container. And I can come in here now and actually look at the underlying source VHD file that's stored on Azure. So there you have some of the differences when you create virtual machines using managed, unmanaged, premium, and standard disks.